Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending the Water and Sewer Utility meeting here today, Thursday, June the 5th, in the council chambers. We'll call the meeting to order. And then the first item we're going to look at is the approval of the agenda. The mayor would like to discuss the approval of the agenda?
Yes, sir. It's in the open session, it talks about moving to a closed session as per section 119 subsection 1E. And the only issue, and the topic there is the UCC update. We've been discussing that in the open for the last year plus. So, and I think that the director should be here too, because he initiated this project.
Yep.
Josh, you're just carrying the flag. And Josh, I've been asking for timelines, and I did ask for a value for money audit, but we didn't go with that. But I'm looking at, in an open session, to ask for an external reviewer to come in and to look at the whole project from start to where we are now. Because Mr. Chair, I keep getting from anyone associated with this project, we're 98% done. We're 105% done.
That was 2 or 3 years ago.
So, 98%, I guess you have to define 98%. Is that just only 2 connections? That's all we have going. So I would ask, Mr. Chair, that UCC update be removed from the closed session, and that we'd have to deal with it when Mr. McEwen is here. Is that all right?
Sure. Any questions on that? Good to go? We'll put that off for another month? Is that?
Well, I'd like to, if we could have another meeting in between this one and our next regular monthly meeting, I'd like to deal with this as soon as possible.
We've been dealing a lot of meetings to
I know.
try to, so maybe if we do a second meeting, then we'll have one off for the monthly meeting.
That's your call.
So let's put this off.
Yep.
Until the director can get here. I had requested contracts for everyone, but they're not the official contracts. There's no dates signed, there's nothing there. So I would like that in for our next meeting. There's been things deleted. We want the information. If we're gonna make a decision here as a committee, we want all the information. So that has to be done.
Yeah.
So we'll asking that, Josh, for the next meeting.
And Mr. Chair, could I just want to say one more thing, Josh? Mr. Chair, through the chair to Josh, the GC is Williams Murphy McLeod. Like, we've never heard from them. I'd like to find out, where do they stand on this project? I know they provided the surety bond, but their name is as GC on this contract, not UCC. It's WM&M. So I'd just like to have them to come in too.
Okay. Questions, Council McAleer?
I'll just more of a comment, Chair. I also think it's just a hunch that perhaps too it's not going to hurt to have our incumbent CAO be part of this issue that we're dealing with his lens and technology kind of piece. I think be good to have him up to speed on it.
Probably schedule that meeting until after he starts his job. Okay, thank you. Also, under the agenda, I had asked for well field protection discussion. I know we have an item in the closed session, but I want to add a brief discussion on well field protection. When has the last time we bought land? Who's our partners? All this, when I asked to put it on, I think, it was in a closed session, but that wouldn't give me the opportunity to talk about it at this time. So can we add that to GH very quickly?
I'll move that.
Any seconder? Seconder, Councilman Tarrant. And I want to just relay that we're going to try to get through this agenda quickly. We know we're on time restraints here, and, we just not, I believe the committee has read the reports, and we don't need to read them again. We just want an update and we'll make a decision and try to keep this going as best we can. So I'll have the approval of the agenda. Councillor Matart, Councillor McAleer. All right, we'll go into, no, I guess we gotta go to adoption of the declarations of conflict of interest. If we're gonna go into a closed session, then I'm in the conflict of wellfield protection. So that's my declaration. Adoption of previous draft special minutes of May the 8th, 2025. Moved by Councillor Matart, second by Councillor McAleer. And business arising from the minutes? No business arising from the minutes, so we'll go into discussion reports, and the first one is the OCEM application update, Alistair Ozone.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this project has been ongoing for about a year and a half when we started looking into the possibility of listing the wellfield properties under the OECM conservation designation with the Nature Conservancy of Canada. In last year, the council passed a resolution to apply for this designation, and through that time, we've been looking at getting it passed. The NCC has funded some wellfield management plans, and those were also adopted by council in March. And with that, the province has everything it needs to satisfy the application. And since then, the lands have been approved under the OECM designation. So the 658 acres that are mapped out in the attached letter are now listed under that designation for conservation, as well as they can now count towards the provincial and federal targets for land conservation of 7% and 30% respectively. So it's just mainly an update on that. We're going to be working with our comms team and the NCC's comms team to put together a news release for this. And then I'm sure they'll be reaching out to you, Mr. Chair, and perhaps the mayor for some quotes or comments on the project. I'm happy to answer any questions about that. I do have a quick update about what's been done in the wellfield as well for planting and conservation work. Over the past 3 years, the Winter River Tracadie Bay Watershed Association has planted around 7,000 trees in and around the wellfield properties or in the wellfield itself. Within that project, it's been funded through the Eco Action Program, and now that funding has been used up. So they're working on a bit of a smaller scale now, focusing on invasive species removal, and they're looking to plant another 500 trees at some of those sites they clear out this year. With the forestry management plans, we're also looking to tackle some of the high priority treatments that are recognized within those plans. I've been working to try and get some funding through the province, through their forest enhancement program. No update on that yet, but we will continue working on that. And with the prescribed treatments, it's not just tree planting, there's a lot of patch cuts, row thinning, invasive species management, crop tree release, especially around those parcels that are more plantation based. So there's a lot of the same species, they're growing up now, so there's a lot of challenges as those trees mature. That's kind of the quick update. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to.
Thank you very much, Alistair. Appreciate that. I've read your report. It's very in-depth, and it's nice to have an outline of where the trees and the work you've been doing. So I appreciate that very much. Any questions from the committee?
Not a question, just comment. Just thank you for the update and all the good work that's happening in that area. And I do recall last year when we were going through this resolution. So great to get an update, and obviously with the communication that might go out, can be more broadly shared with the residents of Charlottetown and Prince Edward Island. So thank you.
Thank you.
Just a quick
Questions,
follow-
Mayor Brown?
Alistair, I know we've talked about it at this standing committee, where the province should be looking at purchasing land. I don't know if that's in any of the wording of the letter from the Minister of Environment. Did you let us know? Or putting a moratorium on use around these well fields. If it's in the letter, can you point out where it is?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this process was more looking at the properties we already own. There weren't conversations with the province about what we could be doing in partnership with them or what they may be doing more with policies. It was purely an application to the OECM through department there to get it approved. We weren't looking at lands we don't own currently. That could be potentially a different project that wouldn't fall under the same thing, but if there's interest, maybe we could look more into that.
No, I understand that. I know they're two different fronts, but the director of Community Services, Richard McEwen, did send a letter to the Minister of Agriculture, Blois Thompson, because some of the work that's going on some of these properties or lands around our well fields deal with agriculture. So it's not just the Department of Environment, it's also agriculture, and there's also the City of Charlottetown's water and wastewater utility. I just, like, everything that's going on, this is a positive step. I just want to keep that moving. As you know, we don't have the fiscal firepower that the province and the feds have to buy land. So where we can buy land, we'll buy land. And but if the provincial government is to put a moratorium, and it's not just for Charlottetown, it's for all well fields across Prince Edward Island. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alistair. Okay, we'll go on to B, utility staffing.
Perfect, thank you, Chair. So the report has been presented. If councilors have kind of read that, then I'll just at a high level go over. The utility is seeking a second assistant manager position. We're looking to kind of break it into two streams at that level, one for the water side and one for the wastewater side. They would work hand in hand, but they would have their own specific streams that they would focus in on. It provides a greater opportunity for capacity for us, for our planning, our monitoring, and our collaboration with other departments, whether that's with the province or with the city itself, with our neighbors in Stratford and other neighboring communities as well. As we grow and continue to expand, I think that position is becoming more and more required, especially at that level. It provides a greater supervision with our superintendents, our supervisory roles, so whether that's a field level supervisor or any of our manager level positions there. There would be an approximately $138,000 budget item that wasn't budgeted in this operational budget. But that would be fleshed out with HR and the exact amounts. And that would include the salary and the benefits, which is your CPP-EI, your health and dental. So there are some soft costs there as well, but that's kind of what we're looking at a high level.
Okay, thank you. I understand, we have 5 positions vacant right now. So what's the most important one that we're looking at? These weren't approved in the budget, and I know it's extra money that we're looking for, but, you need another manager, you need a superintendent, right? So what's the most important?
Absolutely, and that is detailed a little bit further in one of the other reports, but the superintendent is a very key role at the moment. It's very regulatory based, and it is one of the positions that kind of draws me away from part of the role that I'm attempting to function. So if we could fill that one, it is a very hard role to fill where it is a specific mindset and managerial role as well. So to get the right candidate in the seat is a challenge, but that, in my opinion, is the
Most important.
most important.
Yeah, and I appreciate your honesty on that, Josh. I know, we have to do something to fill that position. I mean, you're the manager, we have a director now, we have a manager, and we're looking for another manager and a superintendent. We have to streamline this to get, we're gonna have to do something more to get that superintendent just then, okay, we hired a company. We're gonna have to do some proactive recruiting ourselves, or something's gotta be done, right? We have to fill that, because that takes your duties, you yourself as a manager, away from your position to fill this position. So, I know it would be a assistant manager would be nice to get, but we have to get the superintendent. Anybody have any other questions on that one?
My only comment, Chair, is, just that if this is something that is desired and obviously went to council for approval, it's an unbudgeted line item, which one, either we have to come up with the budget or use current vacancy management. There may be a number of positions that are currently vacant that may be able to offset this. Is this looking for a permanent position or a temporary position?
Through the chair to Councilor Retired, this would be a permanent position we'd look to fill. At the moment, that kind of vacancy management would cover the costs. But into the future, there would be an increase in the operational budget.
Yeah, so to me, I guess it's building that business case to support, the need for you were just talking about the different positions and vacancy. I'm not here to judge whether you need it or don't need the position. It's more of, how do we fund it, right? And especially if it's not in here. So I think it's worth a discussion at the council floor but I'm not, I think what the chair asked was prioritizing that amongst the other positions that are vacant and need. Is that what you're asking, Chair? Like in
Well,
this?
yeah,
one?
that's what,
Like you-
I know the superintendent is taking away, the position is taken away from our manager to do his job fully because he's doing that job. So what I've said is, let's do more to get the superintendent, let him to get his job, as a manager rather than doing it. And then we could look at this maybe further down the road once we get that superintendent position filled. So my idea is, I know it came up, council didn't want to increase the budget at this time. So I would focus on getting the superintendent and then we would come back to review this.
In the next operational, you mean? Like in the next operational budget? So
Well,
you want
yeah,
to focus on
or
the
if-
superintendent
If we
first?
find the superintendent's there and we still need this as a major, this is the only job left, then let's focus on that one. But what I'm thinking is focus on the superintendent and then come back to look at this one again. That's just my, Council McAleer?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just to confirm, and I think I may have asked at perhaps the last committee meeting, but just to confirm, there's no, as it relates to the superintendent's position, there's no one within house that's possible to be recruited or mentored or developed for this role?
That's a great question. So through the chair to Councillor McAleer, there are a few bodies internally that are qualified candidates, but I don't believe they have expressed interest in the position. It is a step up from, we'll say, a doer level, kind of one of the worker bees, to a manager level, and sometimes it's an uncomfortable adjustment. You're dealing more with HR-related topics, so it does take a particular skill set. So my experience and knowledge to date is they're not interested in making that jump.
Yeah, but if they were, and I hear what you're saying, would that not come with commensurate increase in pay or is it not enough of a carrot to want to take that plunge?
It's a great question, really, it is. It does come with a bump in pay, but it's a change in union, it's a change in kind of work environment where as kind of the worker or the doer, you do get your overtime and you're on call. But as that supervisor, that manager level down there, as you would be with the superintendent, overtime is less frequent. So even though there is a bump in base salary, there's not a huge difference, but you are also not expected to have as much overtime as kind of the workers down there.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
just quickly, how long have we
That was
been,
my question.
how long have we been without the superintendent?
There you go.
Through the chair to
Yep.
our manager.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Through the chair to the mayor. It has been a while, several years, I think closer, maybe 4 or 5 years. I'd have to go back exactly. So we did have someone in the seat temporarily, and it just didn't work out with the individual. And then prior to that, it would have been, Richard himself, the director now, would have been down there for a period of time, kind of covering off on bases. So I would anticipate it's been 4 years or so since we've had a permanent body down there, fluidly.
So, Mr. Chair.
The reason I ask, and Josh knows this is a crucial infrastructure for the city of Charlottetown, and not only for the city of Charlottetown, but also Stratford, and all the sludge that comes from, I think, east of Hunter River to East Point. This is not just a facility that covers our own municipality. It's got a huge function. I think we have to fill that position right away. This requires putting on whatever we have to put on hold. Because Josh, you know what? As a manager, you're doing a great job, but your time's down there. And you know, I've been down there with some visitors. There's a lot of work going on down there. You have to take a moment to go down and just do a visit up the site. This is a high-tech facility that is ensuring that our riverways, especially Hillsborough, is free from any wastewater going in there untreated. So it's an important role, and I think we have to fill it ASAP.
Just a quick clarification, I'm looking at the existing organizational chart. So if I look under Josh, under you, there's a position for works superintendent. There's a position for a WW, I think that's wastewater, is it? Superintendent. There's a city hall staff position, and then there's an assistant manager position. That says existing. Is that the existing structure right now? And how much of that is vacant on that level?
Yes, thank you for the question. So in that work chart, it is City Hall staff, so there are several positions within City Hall that kind of fall directly underneath myself. There's a couple admin, there's a GIS technician. So there are, that level is just truncated. The assistant manager position to the far right, that is vacant. That was my previous position before jumping into the manager role, as well as the wastewater treatment plant superintendent. So that is vacant currently, but the work superintendent, that is filled. We've had a long time employee in there, and they're doing a tremendous job.
Thank you, Josh. So I guess my point of that is we should probably look to be filling those vacant positions before we're looking to approve another assistant manager. We're not likely to fill that anytime, like why, we can't fill the two that are vacant, why would we get a third? So I think priority-wise, why don't we just focus on getting those filled as quickly as possible and then come back and look to see where we stand based on that, structure. I say we're just adding another element into what we already have a problem. A third, we're looking for a second manager when we don't even got the first one vacant. That's my point. Thank you.
But here we are, as a committee, we're saying fill it ASAP, but nothing gets done. We hire, the last time I spoke to the director, well, we hired a company. Well, how long has that company been working on getting us somebody? Like, is this an impossible position to fill, or what? Like, do we need, just like the police did, to bump up the pay scale to get someone to come here? Something has to be done, Josh. If we're here 4 years looking for this position, we're not doing a good enough job. So nothing against you. I'm just saying, we have to get this filled. It's a high importance.
Absolutely, and I appreciate the emphasis. I would echo that as well. And it'll involve a conversation with the director and probably HR to see maybe there's a different carrot we can throw out there. And that, my inclination is that's what it will come down to. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that, Josh. So we're still on the assistant manager thing, right? Yeah, we're not gonna move that one forward at this time, but we're gonna look at, as we, we're looking at B and then D, so we're kind of talking about both at the same time, right, Josh? Utility staffing?
Absolutely, yeah. There's been some overlap in discussions. Yep.
Yeah, so, again, in one of the reports, it says one of the positions, positions, is sitting with finance. So why is that sitting with finance dictating where we're getting our staff? Like, what's the problem there?
That is, it's a great question, not one that I have a tremendous answer to. It is kind of one of those institutional things that hasn't been passed down to me quite yet. But it is requisitioned through finance because they are doing financial components of the work. They do that specifically for the utility, so that's why we are funding it. So they are doing utility work, but it is as well in that financial realm. So it is part of the finance department that they want to have a key role down there. I do believe they want to change the job description slightly. That way they could make the role a little more enticing for individuals, bring the right body in and have success moving forward in there. So that, it's kind of an institutional thing, how that happened originally, whether the utility should have been hiring for that all along, or whether finance should have, kind of full control of it.
Okay.
What-
So, yeah,
No, go ahead.
and I understand. So we have a chair of finance here. Can you bring that up at your next meeting to see if we can get some push on that? Would that be possible? To put it on your agenda?
Yeah, in terms of additional dollars for any of these positions?
No, this is not an additional dollar. This was in our utility budget, right?
That is correct. It is an existing position. It's been vacant for near a year now, I believe. So it is creating kind of a workload issue within the department and just a workflow as well. So we would look to fill that as soon as possible.
So my understanding that it's budgeted under our committee or under our department here, but we're waiting on finance. So what I'm asking is, can you or can Councillor McAleer put it on the next meeting of finance to look at that, to get help, to get us out? Because again, we're paying for it, but we're at finance's whim of not filling it, right?
Essentially.
Okay, so can we move something like that along to the committee to look at that one? Any other questions? Any lights on?
John, you want to go?
No, again, just circling back to mentoring someone to, say, in the superintendent thing, and I think what I got from you was with overtime that some of the worker bees can get, they're probably just figure they're as well off financially, is that fair?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I understand, city administration, or city staff, they're very much a union world. Is it possible to increase the carrot or the financial, pay on that? Does money talk? Would that, in your opinion, make any difference for someone to step up?
Definitely, I do believe if that financial aspect of it was increased, you'd reach a different pool of candidates, and even the existing ones, that may intrigue them a little more. I don't know how that gets rolled out because it is a unionized position. But I do believe finances is an element of that, absolutely.
It's gonna have to be done, right? If we're waiting this amount of time. So somebody's gonna have to sit down and determine that very quickly.
Yeah, so that's why I appreciate that you consolidated B and D on the agenda. And if I go to page 27, Superintendent Wastewater Treatment Plant, UPSI position, actively recruiting, interviews have been conducted, candidates, and will continue as candidates become available. One job offer was extended, but the candidate declined. So the wheels are moving here, Mr. Chair, and let's just keep the wheels moving. And if we have to provide a signing bonus, get something done. My concern, Mr. Chair, is that if something happens down at that plant, because Josh is trying to do 2 or 3 jobs, and one day he wasn't there, we could have an environmental issue, something very serious. We have to mitigate it by getting someone there that can get, the staff, it's a great staff down there. I think they need that role filled ASAP.
Okay, thank you for that, Mayor Brown. So it is a priority of this committee is to put a little bit of pressure on you, Josh, to get this going, okay? Sorry about that.
No, absolutely, I appreciate that, thank you. I appreciate the support there.
Thank you. Okay, so we kind of did B and D together. We'll jump into hydrometric gauges, memorandum of agreement. So I'm sure everybody looked at the reports. There's a funding agreement there. You just don't have to read it all. I'm sure everyone, if you have questions, does anybody have any questions on that? Yeah, renewal?
Yep, absolutely. It is something we've done for the past number of years. It's just, we kind of sign one every 3 years, and then this is the third year, so we're looking to renew that.
So just to clarify, so there was a 3-year agreement, this is the third year of it?
Well, the last one was signed in 2021, I believe, so this was the last. It
So-
expired this year, so we're looking to move into a new one.
So from a tendering perspective, we don't have to go out to any sort of tender to give other opportunities, or no? That make any sense?
That is a good question. It has been provided through Environment Canada for the past number of years. They have a tremendous amount of experience. We haven't used anyone previously to that. It's administered through Environment Canada, through the provinces, as kind of outlined in the report, because they wanted to narrow down their administrative costs. So they deal solely with the province, and the province is giving it to us, the same exact service at cost. So they're making.
Sure. I guess maybe just from a finance sole source perspective, this is probably the only particular avenue for this agreement, so I'm fine with that. I just want to make sure, we don't get into a discussion about, well, why aren't we giving others opportunity to support this? So it makes perfect sense to me. I'm good with it. I'll move it forward.
Second. Just on the floor, Mr. Chair. Go to page 18. Environment and Climate Change Canada have offered a comprehensive stream flow and groundwater monitoring program for over 5 decades. Then if you go down to the next paragraph, as such, the Charlottetown Water and Wastewater Utility has partnered with the Prince Edward Island Department of Environment, Energy and Climate Action for the past several years in stream flow. So this is really a cooperative agreement. I don't think it requires an outside body. It's internal through these government agencies, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, so the fiscal year 25-26 is 67,000, 26-27. So that's the price, and that's the price we pay to ensure that we're monitoring our flows.
Exactly, yeah,
Thank you.
and it is part of the license agreement for our groundwater extraction, so we have to conduct these services one way or the other. Yeah.
Okay. We get moved and second there. Move that up. Now we're just going into the operational capital budget update. If you can just do a quick one here, Josh, to see where we're at, that'd be great.
Thank you, Chair. So as outlined in the report there, I've just provided some highlights, primarily. The capital projects that we have underway or completed to date, and this is based off of our current fiscal capital budget. So we did have Walker and Royalty Pumping Station that was just completed recently, so that's been expended. Our Beach Grove Lift Station, so that went out to tender. Island Coastal was the successful bidder for $546,600 plus HST. So we do anticipate that to be completed by October of this year, the end of October. So work hasn't begun there yet, but it will very shortly. As well, we have several projects down at the treatment plant they're underway. That's our aeration tank rehabilitation and our polymer and dewatering upgrades, as well as some control system upgrades. So those are in the design and engineering phase and will soon go out to tender. We had several motor vehicles purchased this year, our 3 half-ton trucks. So they were awarded to Summerside Chrysler Dodge for $62,350 each, and that's plus tax. We anticipate delivery of those August 1st. In the near future, we will be going out to tender for a sewer flusher and a combination valve exerciser maintenance trailer. So those tenders are being drafted and will be posted in the very near future. So those are a couple of the capital assets we'd be seeking this fiscal. Next, we do have North River Road Phase 1, Water Street reconstruction, and University Avenue reconstruction. So those streets are in the design and engineering phase now. And we're collaborating with Public Works on those. So once those are ready, we'll look to put those tenders out. As far as the operational, we again have several vacancies. So that is creating an area where certain things are not being expensed. So that's our salaries, benefits. As those positions are vacant, as they become full, those will begin to be expended. We are exploring further opportunities to generate or increase revenue. Some of the opportunities do include implementing a fee for flow testing. Typically, we have not charged for that service, but it does expend our water or use some of our water, so we're looking to do a cost recovery fee on that. And then potentially changes to our fee structures or maybe a penalty structure. I know inspection infractions have come up recently that if there is an issue, maybe we should be charging for going back and looking at those. Whether we look at the fee structure for our turn on, turn off requests. So we are gonna undertake a industry scan just to see what our neighboring partners have for their fees, whether our fees make sense for us or maybe they should be increased. And then at a high level, we reviewed some of the accounts or most of the accounts in our operational budget, and there were no anomalies at this time in the revenue or expenditures. It is still quite early in the fiscal year, so as things are expensed or received, it does take time to process. But as the year continues, we'll continue to monitor those accounts, and if anything comes up, we will communicate those notes.
I'm just wondering, thank you very much for that, Josh, and it's nice to get an update instead of waiting, every year we look at the budget or where we're at. So if we could get this maybe quarterly, at least to give us an idea where we're going, and then, we wouldn't be looking at maybe raising rates in the spring or the new budget time. So this would just give us a snapshot of where we're at. I appreciate that, and I know you're busy, so I don't want to put too much pressure on you. Any questions there from anybody? Councilor McAleer?
No, Chair, just like to, support your comments. It's a great report, good information, timely where we are year to date. And hopefully it's the sort of thing that we can carry on through with, other departments. And anyway, thank you.
I'm
Thank
red
you.
light.
Beg your pardon?
I'm red light.
I have to look over the thing to see you. Okay, go ahead, Mayor Brown.
I did bring this up with the director. If you go out to our new facility on Brackley Point Road, that's shared with Parks, Recreation, Water and Wastewater. And on the south side where the garage doors are, it's pretty tight. Brand new facility, but I think we just too much building, not enough to get vehicles in and out, especially with trailers. I think, Josh, that's an issue. And there is a piece of property, Josh, just on the west side of Advantage Telecommunications. It's vacant now, but there is a piece of property that lies between Advantage and our property line for the Public Works garage on McAleer Drive. Just wanted to put that on your radar, that if we could purchase that, that could provide, like the parking lot at Brackley Point Road they're parking everywhere because, and I think we have to rent parking from Advantage because Parks and Recreation don't have enough parking space. So again, when you build complexes like we did, and I think that was a $6 or $7 million complex in net zero, I just want to put that back on the radar if Richard did go anywhere with it, because I believe the landowner did reach out to the city and we never responded. That's my understanding, and that's only anecdotal, so I just wanted to get some follow-up on it.
Appreciate that, because sometimes when you drive by there every day, you notice the parking lot's full of vehicles, right? So it's like, how did this happen? I guess you looked at a small piece of land and put a nice building in it, but you didn't think of the trucks and trailers and tractors and everything getting in, so
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
But Mr. Chair, if driving a trailer,
Oh, I know.
right?
Yeah.
You need some
Yeah.
turning.
Yeah.
And the turning on that south side where the doors are, for the facility, it's very tight. Like, you know, we have to, again, it's, hindsight is 20/20.
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll look at that. That's great. Thank you. So moving on to that, no lights. We'll go down to the water permit process. Josh would give us a quick update if you could.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so most of this report had been presented before, but with a slight update just at the bottom. So again, Planning and Heritage Department is working on a permitting process. Once they have this in place, we will collaborate with them a little bit more in depth just to see what elements we can create efficiency on. I have some good ideas as well as our department has come up with some great ideas. If the capacity is there or capability within that program is there, there's no reason we couldn't put processes in place that the permit fees on the water and sewer side could be included with the building side. They would have to have several checks and balances in place. And likely it would front load some of the work for the utility, but there's no reason that it couldn't all be jived into one system. From my understanding is the program that they've purchased is quite capable, so I don't see why we couldn't create efficiencies moving forward.
That would be tremendous. I get it a lot from developers that the process takes so much at the city. So you apply for your building permit, you can do that online. They actually prefer that, so then they can share it. So you apply for the building, all the inspectors look at it, then it has to go to Public Works, and then you're waiting for Public Works to give an answer on the driveway. Then during that process, you literally have to come in to see Pauline to get an approval. So there's so many things that you have to do to get a building permit. We're trying to get this, it's one-stop shopping. You put your permit in, everybody gets, an email on it or whatever, and then there's no delays. Like I said, it's so frustrating when you contact other places for a building permit that it would take 1 to 2 days, where here I got screamed at this morning, I've been waiting 8 weeks, people are waiting for permits, right? So it's something, anything we can do to shorten the wait would be greatly appreciated. And I know planning is hoping to get this program, but we've been waiting an awful long time. I'm just wondering if you could reach out to see where we're at, where we're going, how quickly we can implement this if possible.
Absolutely. I can reach out and gather that information.
That'd be awesome,
So,
Josh.
thank you.
Councilman
Mr. Chair, when
Craig.
I was reading the report on this one, I guess I was asking myself, is this for the purpose of having our support to work with the other departments to promote the fact that we want this process to be more streamlined from a water and sewer perspective? Because we're not approving anything here. We're not putting this forward to council, so I assume I'm making the assumption, Josh, you were looking for us to think this is a great idea on behalf of the department and to show our support. Is that what you're looking for? Because we certainly, as Councillor, or as the chair said, we certainly want to see this happen and streamline the process. It seems to be just one piece of the puzzle of the many different aspects that you have to go through from getting a permit to in development. So I'm just trying to clarify in support of what you're putting here. Is that what you want me to tell you? We're in support and we'll help you move it forward or help you to support it? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I would appreciate that. I've been asking Josh if there's any way we could get committee support to ask him to really reach out to planning, because I know a lot of times if you're not reaching out, it's stagnant, right? So you need support, and I believe if anything our committee can do to recommend, to support this would be a positive step.
So we can beat the drum, is what I'm saying, if that's what you're looking for, or at least I can speak for myself. In making this, I see all kinds of efficiencies in here, and obviously other departments should be falling in line with the same type of process to allow the streamlining of the building permit process. So, yeah, I think it's a great idea. So you have my blessing, I guess, or support, and we'll help push that forward for you.
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Chair. The issue here is that the online permitting system that the Department of Planning, Development, and Heritage are working on, there's a lot of training required for that. And you know, or anyone that's in the development business, trying to get that permit, that development permit, if you bridge that with a water and wastewater permit, that's going to slow down the process.
But what I'm saying, Mayor Brown,
Yeah.
is a lot of times that you apply to planning, it takes a long time to get some work done. Then it has to go to Public Works, then Water and Sewer. You know, Pauline is super efficient, so I can come in and she can, you know, usually help me within a, you know, that day. But what I'm saying is, when I apply at planning, the very first day, why can't it be shipped to Public Works and to Water and Utility? So it'll save the time. You know what I mean?
I understand, but the processes are different. One process is to get that permit so you can get a foundation in the ground.
Yep.
And then the next process is get a building up, and then the next process is getting an occupancy permit. Part of that occupancy permit, which I think you know, is to get water and wastewater into your development, because you can't get an occupancy permit without the utilities into the building, correct?
Correct.
So I'm just trying to figure out how that would work out, and it,
What I'm saying, though, instead of going to 3 departments and waiting, it's to go hit it at once. So it all comes in and it goes to those departments so they can make the decision. So that's very quick. A lot of times you put a foundation in, you come in, you speak to Pauline, you give her all your information, and then you get to tap into the water, get it there, and then, you know, say some people need water during that time you're building, and then the water meter comes, that's when you have all your toilets and everything in. Well, what I'm saying is, if we can do anything to streamline the water and the building permit and the driveways, you know, from day one, to get people working on that.
last point, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
This is not a legislative structural issue. This is not a committee issue. This is an operational issue, correct? Like, it's up to the department, like the Joshes and the David Gundrams, to put their heads together to put this system, consolidate this system to make it more efficient, correct? Is that what,
That is correct.
Okay.
We've been waiting from the last CAO come in, she was a planner, and the HO, what is this? The federal government, you know, that we agreed to. Yes, the housing auxiliary, yeah. So that was supposed to help. So we're waiting. It's constantly waiting. It's coming. But I mean, it's been, what, a couple of years now? And we're no closer. So what I'm saying is, if we can do anything to help streamline the water and sewer department,
Yeah.
to implement it in with the planning would be great. And I don't know if it's operational, but we're,
I think regardless if it's operational, we want to emphasize it from this group committee to support that. And whatever streamlining can be done. The report talks a little bit about collecting fees and stuff at the very front end, so we're kind of a little bit down the road on some of the processes you're talking about that was identified here. But I think any of the processes that involve water and sewer, if they can be integrated more into the planning process at certain times, what I'm hearing, it will make that more efficient
Yes.
for the end product. So I think we're just saying, we got you here, Josh, you know, we're gonna help you as best we can, advocate for you on your behalf, is what I thought we were doing, so.
my point is that the legislative structure is not holding it up. We're pushing it. It's trying to, again, all the work is coming down to the Joshes and the David Gundrams and everyone that's in that consolidated effort to get things moving.
that'd be great. Perfect. The next one is,
Just
oh, sorry, didn't see you there.
Just-
Go ahead.
Just on that, Mr. Chair, it's hard not to be supportive of what we're talking about here, efficiencies, I guess, you know, in this whole process, and to use the jurisdictional scan comment, like, is there any knowledge or what other, other municipalities where what you're talking about, Councillor Drong, in terms of that have that kind of efficiency? Is there any way to find that out? Or are we trying to reinvent the wheel, what we're talking about here? Or does anybody have any knowledge of that, or?
I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. Maybe Josh might know.
That's a tremendous question, and no, I don't believe we're trying to reinvent the wheel. I think what we're doing is trying to catch up to the wheel that everybody has. As we move more towards an electronic system, everything being digital, that speeds everything up. Instead of being paper-based, where we get clogged down and it gets stuck in inter-office mail or it gets sat on somebody's desk. If we can move into more of that electronic space, everything can be intertwined, obviously appropriately. And as soon as a building permit application goes in, well, then the drawings get sent to water and sewer. And then water and sewer will review it and we say, we want, this much for a deposit. That amount or that number goes into the system that's fed to building permits, and then now they can pay that right there. So it can all be intertwined. I know Pauline had attended a conference not that long ago, and that's what it was all about. It's about moving to that digital world and increasing those efficiencies. It frees up our workforce to do things that are a little bit more meaningful than, just pure trying to trudge through the paperwork. So it's just a matter of getting there.
Appreciate that.
So staying with this, so would this, isn't that perhaps maybe happening, or be wrong to assume that somebody should be maybe owning it in terms of, and would Mike Russ, would that not fall under maybe his? Mike Russ and Richard Gill. Yeah, in terms of what we're kind of talking about here.
Yeah.
Is that going on? Is it?
Well, see, this is why I want to bring it up. You bring it up, make sure we're hitting the ground running here, and then maybe we can tap into those resources. But if you're not asking, if you're not pushing, like our manager says, it could sit on a desk because there's other things, right? So this is why we're trying to get it going. The efficiency of permitting and things like that. I mean, our department here is very efficient. We have to come in, we get it, and then, it works very well. But we could hopefully get it together with the other departments to be more efficient. And, maybe a Michael Roos or Richard to get on this, to get this stuff done. I mean, I had a guy near crying to me the other day. Can't get a permit, has no work because they're waiting. And he said, I got to feed my family. I don't have any work. We're going to build this, it was a townhouse or something. And I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do. You have to apply. But it's real-time people getting upset that they can't get their permits. And what the biggest thing is, when you give a permit or you're putting an application in, the city's making money on it, right? So we should be very efficient to get that application, the city makes money, and keep the wheel going. But I don't know what else to say. All I'm here is getting our committee, get a hold of Josh to see if we can make our department more efficient than it already is, that we just don't have to overlap duties. Yep, no, very efficient here in water and sewer. I wish everything was. All right. No questions will go to the utility vehicle. I know we're tight at time. Do you want to defer this to the next meeting? Defer it.
I'm going to ask deferred.
Yeah, I was just gonna, it was more, I was looking into it on a concern, so I can easily defer to the next, put it on the next meeting. So, any introduction of new business?
No.
None? Seeing none. A motion to move into a closed session as per section 119(1)(e) of the Municipal Government Act of PEI. 119(1)(e)(a), a matter still under consideration in which council has not yet publicly announced a decision and about which discussion in public will likely prejudice the municipality's ability to carry out its negotiation. And this is Wellfield
lot of work, Bobby. Tired.
I'm glad there's somebody who knows these rules.
So, like, it happens so infrequent?
You explain it to him?
So Bob, you're gonna put us back in. You're gonna say, is there any business arising from closed session?
Okay.
We'll say yes, and then you're in conflict again, so then you'll read, I'll finish off. You're done.
Okay, run that by me again now.
So there is business arising from the thing, which is for the wellfield protection land acquisition.
Okay,
And then you're gonna say, oh, well, I'm in conflict of that, so then you can leave, and I'll end the session for us here, and we're done.
okay, perfect.
So. Goodbye.
Okay, we're back in session here, and I just want to go to number 9, business arising from the closed session. Is there any business?
So, thank you, Chair. Yes, so there is a decision coming out of the closed session for a land acquisition for wellfield protection, as per the discussion we had. So, again, that I think puts you in conflict, so I can take over as the co-chair and close out the session.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. So, we'll just give a second. Okay, so through the committee and the closed session, we will have a resolution that will be coming to council on Tuesday night, just in regard to wellfield protection, land acquisition, as per the item on the agenda. So no further discussions on that at this time, so I guess we could move to adjournment.
Mr. Chair, just want to say
Oh,
that,
sorry.
could we please have it ready for, I know you're busy, I know you have a lot going on, Josh, but I'd like to have this, let's move on. We got other business to do, finding the superintendent and finding staff.
Okay, thank you very much. We're all set, thank you. Motion to adjourn.
Here, good.
Second, thank you.
All right, red light. Red light.
We're still live. We're still live.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
You're all good there, Bob?